Good morning. This is George Adam
Morning.
here. George,
Hello.
George Adam here from Valiant, and I have my CIO, Valiant CIO, Justin Mancini here as well. Uh,
Hello.
and today we're going to talk about a topic that is kind of important, I think, for what's happening right now. It's around co-managed IT. To give you guys some idea of what co-managed IT is, how we define it, is co-managed IT is when you have your MSP and your internal IT staff working together in a unified manner to deliver the business result required by the business. So there's a whole bunch of it. So we're kind of going to give you some definitions of it. We're not the only guys doing it out here. So I think it's really important. And I think that part of what's going on today with this crisis, it can be really helpful for a
Mhm.
staff that doesn't have the tooling or the procedures or the process to support thousands of people remotely. And I think a lot of MSPs out there have a ton of experience in this manner. I think partnering up with a great MSP could be a way for you to keep your users secure, functional, and dare I say happy because they're getting the support they need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to JP, let
Mhm.
him kind of go over some of the nuts and bolts of it, and I'm going to give you some of the business case. All
Yeah,
right?
sounds good. So, with like George said, with call managed, what we do is we augment your existing IT infrastructure with our tools and our systems and the processes and procedures that we've built up over the years that we use for all of our customers. And I think probably the two, well, let's go three biggest pieces of that are giving you access to tools and setting up the tools around. The first is our ticketing system. That's huge. I'll get into some details on how that works. The second is what's called an RMM, a remote monitoring and management platform. And this is a way to keep track of all of your workstations, regardless of where they're located. And I'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute. And then the third is using a unified documentation system, a documentation platform. And that is especially important both to keep your team all the information together and to allow our team or your co-managed team to edit that information at the same time, and that reduces the shuffle of I changed this password, let me send that out to everybody or have everything there, and it makes it really easy for somebody else to step in. Let's say you do get sick and you're unavailable to work for a few days, a week. You don't want things to get stuck because people don't know what to do or where to find information. So I'm going to roll back real quick to the ticketing system. We've built out, I mean, for us internally, we've built out a ticket platform that we use that are it's an off-the-shelf platform, but customize the workflows where tickets come in, we triage tickets, assign them to the right place, and it's cut down on email coming in by a huge amount. In the past, somebody would email in, we'd work on that, kind of track it through email. With ticketing in place, it makes it very easy for one person to start, pick up what's going on, transfer it to somebody else, keep a running list of all the tasks they need to do. And rather than you building your own system or buying a system and customizing it off the shelf, we've got very easy tools that we can use to build that. So you would use our system, log into our system, get access. We would build you out a ticket queue. Certain tickets would come to us, certain tickets go to you, however we want to divide that up. And now your users they can still email, they can still call, but there's a place to track all of that work. And if you're used to the shoulder tap environment or running around just as people are like, hey, while you're here, hey, can you get this? This is a game changer because it gives you a place to keep track of everything, track how long certain things take. And then in the long run, you can use that information to your advantage and look at it and say, okay, Bob's laptop, I've done 10 tickets for Bob's laptop in the past 2 weeks. We need to buy him a new laptop. And when you go to make that justification to management, you can say, well, look, here's all the list of things that's wrong with it over the past few weeks. It took me 20 hours to fix it, so he hasn't been working for 20 hours. Let's spend money on a new machine for him. So
Right.
there's a lot of ways that can really change the way that you work.
JP, I was
Mhm.
just going to kind of give the dive in a little bit.
Mhm.
Those analytics are super critical. That's how
Yeah.
we operate our team and for our clients. And I think that most solo IT practitioners or in small medium business really don't know what they do all day, but I know they're busy. They're doing tons of stuff.
Yeah.
But is it really what's strategic for the business? Is it what's critical to get done today? Is it going to actually have, do you really know what's happening in the environment with this tickets? And that's what the analytics tell you. So sorry to jump in there, just want to say it out loud.
Yeah, definitely. The second thing we mentioned was the RMM, remote monitoring and management, and that what tickets do for tracking your work, RMM does for tracking your physical machines. It's a small agent, a software piece that you install, works both for Mac and PC. I install it on, collects information about the machine at the base level. So immediately what you can do is build a really robust inventory. And especially with people working remote, if they've taken company machines home, this is a really critical thing to have, to know exactly who has what's online, what's running, what software is installed. All these pieces are just at the base level information that becomes available to you.
Right.
The next step up from that is very, very easy remote access. If somebody has a machine and the machine's online connected to the internet, you can remote in and help them. And again, this is super useful if you've got a workforce working remote. You can't walk over to them, and rather than spending the, okay, let me call you, let's get team viewer set up, let's do this thing, you can just say, okay, I'm going to remote into your machine now. They get a pop-up that you're there, you're on the machine, able to fix the problem. Then probably the biggest piece of it is the part that takes the most time to build is the automation component. So we have a team of people that we have working. We call the department shared services because it's resources that are shared amongst our clients. Clients.
Clients.
Yeah, it's getting a little Gollum there. So shared amongst all of our clients that let us set automatic procedures to happen. So that at the base level, patching. All of our Windows machines run updates and patching and schedule reboots for people. And that immediately takes care of that problem of, are all your machines up to date? Does everybody have security patches applied? Does everybody have everything running? You can say, yes, it's all done. It's automated. I don't have to think about it. Here's the report that shows that it was done and done. That's taken care of. Then going from there, we've used it for things like deploying VPN clients and deploying LogMeIn, which has been really useful the past couple of weeks. Customers that have not had LogMeIn previously are like, okay, we can get this set up for you. We can deploy it to the workstations, just a couple of clicks. It sends everything out and they're set up and good to go. We can do the same thing for VPN clients. So it's okay, we're going to install the software. Software's installed, and that saves a ton of time. You don't have to hit every single machine. And those policies can get customized to what you need specifically for your environment. If you have a particular piece of software that you had been deploying through group policy with everybody in the office, but now with everybody remote, they're not checking in to AD, not checking in as regularly, we can still push that software out to those machines. Same thing is true on the Mac side. We can deploy software to machines even if they weren't managed otherwise. Just have a software install, pushes it out, keeps it updated. Everything is good, ready to go.
It's great, JP. It's really cool. It's a really interesting thing. I mean, some of the other pieces that you generally sign these kind of environments is, client portals. Sometimes they extend your server hours past what one person can do, especially if you have bi-coastal staffers. So that one person, and I said, and so part of what I was thinking, part of how we kind of look at it is, we what we see is that. A lot of times most businesses don't have, you kind of have to make a choice. You want to hire someone who's an IT generalist or someone who is a specialist for your business. So, part of it is most managed service providers are never going to have that specialty knowledge of your business, but the person that works in the business day to day is an expert in your operations and your workflows. And I think what is really interesting from my perspective is when we see where a company will have someone who's like an expert in their application stack on staff. They kind of work side by side with us doing infrastructure, and we kind of have this great kind of synergy. use synergy in a sentence, unironically. And sorry about that. Sorry to make you laugh.
But that's the idea, yeah, is to have that we or your other co-managed provider. The idea is that the co-managed provider can take the day-to-day, take the infrastructure, take the, really want to call it, the grunt work off of a resource that you have in-house that has more valuable things to be doing, like
Right.
managing those applications, like being a part of business decisions, like working to figure out long-term plans. And they are stymied from doing that because they have to also do things like make sure their machines are up to date or help users work remote. And that's where co-managed really shines, because IT provider can do those things and do them far more efficiently, so that that person that you have can focus on their work.
So we have a question from our head of our VCIO team, Chris Copeland. What if my on-site tech engineer suddenly quits? That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Or, we frame it a little bit. What if they get sick right now? Or if they take a vacation, a long vacation, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What the beauty of co-manage that it doesn't force you to build a huge department of people to support your operations. But it allows you to have the flexibility of not having a single point of failure.
Mm-hmm.
One of the key tenets in most IT operations and security in most industries is eliminating your single points of failure. If your IT person has the keys to your technology kingdom, let's say digital kingdom, and every business is a technology business today, if you don't think it is, rely on these things so much. What this does is it gives the management team and ownership team a level of comfort to know that on one hand, there's a company, there's a team of people who have that knowledge and know-how to support me in case my person is not available for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Flip side is, if your fear is to outsource your entire operation to a company, maybe that's not an acceptable solution for you, or maybe you need something special, different, and you made a decision. And I think where this slots in neatly is in both of those scenarios, and that's why we really like this solution, especially for our clients that have kind of transitioned into that. They need a full-time on-site person to kind of manage those applications and the know-how, that sort of stuff, that deep knowledge of the client. So one of the other things I think is really important in this context is scalability. Actually, let me step back for a second. Valiant has kind of like just in that for the past couple of years have been kind of like working together to build like a philosophy of how we operate as a company and as an MSP, and it kind of has 4 tenets, and that is stability, security, scalability, innovation. And what's nice about co-manage is it neatly slots into that concept. And what it does is, stability, great. If someone's unable to work or support us, we have a way to continue operating our business and serving our clients, your clients. Security, MSPs, well, we do a lot of security, and we have a much bigger team than one person by themselves can do. I think that's one of our core pieces that we can bring to the table for, or any MSP, I should say, but the MSPs are focused in that arena.
Yeah, I think one of the important pieces with security is adding in as well the separation of duties is something that we haven't touched on, but that is a big piece where you can have a check and balance on certain security sensitive tasks, because it's not just one person in charge of everything. And the biggest one we see this in is new hires and departing users, where if one person is the person that's saying, okay, this person's getting set up, I'm giving them access to these files and all this and all these pieces, there's no check and balance on that. With a co-managed team, you decide on those things ahead of time, make a checklist, and then different people engage in different pieces of that, so there's a check and balance. There's not one person running the whole thing, and that can be true for anything that requires security. It's like having to turn the 2 keys at the same time. This gives you that that layer. And because it's all through a ticketing system, it gives you a written trackable record so that you
Right.
can say, this person was set up at this date, these things were done at this date, and this is when they left, and these things were removed, and have all of that in one place.
Exactly. It's a great example of it. And then we get the scalability. A single person can only do so much by themselves. And I know some people, any of us have worked as an in-house IT person, you get overwhelmed. You have, all these different things to get done. A great MSP relationship could help you scale. I'm really proud to say we moved about 2,000 people to remote in about a week, and they're working. And I'm really happy to say that happened, and we got only really positive feedback from our clients and people we've been working with. And finally, I think the most important thing you can do in a way that, as a business owner, is innovation. It frees up your staff or your staffer to really understand your business and really grow you and bring them to the boardroom. Let them be that resource that understands your company and what new places where you can grow, versus having them bogged down in like, I can't print, or I need to set up this Outlook, or I'm offboarding this employee. That's the kind of stuff that is not as important to your business, but has to be done well. And I think that's where the innovation comes in. So we really want to try, we really try to kind of fit everything to that model, because I think everything kind of does fit in that model. So anyway, JP, what else you got for us?
The other piece that we didn't touch on, that I'll touch on briefly, that ties into this, is the shared documentation platform.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And that goes back to Chris's question too. If somebody is gone or on vacation or sick, by having all that information in one place that is accessible, that has a change log, that has backups, that is protected, it allows that person to take the time that they need and have other people access that information. And that could be the co-managed provider, that could be the business owner, that could be whoever it is that's again removing that single point of failure for, in this case, for infrastructure information. That's thing from the inventory list to passwords to instructions on how to do certain things. We find a lot of times, and I mean, I know I did this when I was the single IT guy at a place. All the stuff on how to make everything run lived in my head. And before I left, I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend a month writing out all the procedures for everything so that I can hand this off. And by having a documentation platform where all that stuff is done up front, it removes that if somebody is suddenly sick, or if somebody's on vacation, or if somebody leaves, all that information is there.
Right. I think a good way to think of it is all this data, all this process of procedures is intellectual property of your business, and it's critical that it's protected and put in a place that you can get access to it anytime you need it. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. This is a great Q&A. This is a great kind of Q&A. And I think it's good, informative. What we're doing is we're going to keep doing these live events online. And CoManaged is just one part of it. Actually, Wednesdays are really near and dear one to my heart, is about working at home with your children, or if you're a parent, while you're both working remotely and your kids are working remotely. They're remote learning, and some of the challenges they're facing. Myself, I have 3 kids in 3 different schools using probably about 10 different platforms. So, and it's kind of a challenge to kind of both do this work and keep our business, keep functioning. And so what we're going to do is we'll put together some resources, some best practices that we've found, things that work for us and my family. And Justin's wife's a teacher, and some of the people on our staff are educators and parents. So we just want to get that stuff out there, just trying to be helpful. And if you have any questions, please join and send us your questions and send out our form. So
if you've got ideas for upcoming Q&As, things you're curious about, things you want to know more, send it our way too. We've got a couple more of these planned out, but we're always looking for new ideas.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the end of dirty jobs. We want your suggestions. We want your dirty job. All right, very good. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
See you guys soon. Bye.